Have you ever felt that no matter how much you try, how many nights you stay awake planning, how much energy you spend fighting, life still resists you? What if the reason is not your lack of strength, discipline, or strategy, but the opposite? What if your entire reality has been built on a false premise, the illusion that struggle is necessary? Hidden in the scrolls of Taoism, in the verses of the Tao Te Ching, lies a principle so powerful that entire civilizations tried to conceal it: Wu Wei, the art of effortless action, the alignment with the universal flow. In ancient Egypt, the same code was whispered by Thoth, the scribe of the gods, in the emerald tablets, and later crystallized in Hermeticism and the Kybalion. Mentalism, the all is mind. Correspondence, as above, so below. As within, so without. Vibration, everything moves, everything vibrates. Polarity, rhythm, gender, the secret architecture of manifestation. This knowledge has been called many names: mental alchemy, cosmic consciousness, the path of least resistance, the universal mind, the law of attraction. But all point to the same forbidden technique. Reality responds not to your struggle, but to your frequency. Modern science, through the study of the flow state and transient hypofrontality, confirms what the ancients already knew. When the ego mind silences, when the critical inner voice dissolves, we enter a state of peak performance, effortless manifestation, intuitive clarity, and alignment with the quantum field of infinite possibilities. This is not philosophy. It is not wishful thinking. It is a universal law, as infallible as gravity. It is the key to transform effort into ease, noise into harmony, resistance into resonance. And today, you are about to remember it. The truth that your soul has always carried. You are not separate from the universe. You are not a fragment adrift in chaos. You are the very current of the cosmic river, an individualized wave of the divine mind, called to awaken to your true nature. This is the beginning of your initiation into the forbidden code of Wu Wei, into the alchemy of vibration and resonance, into the wisdom that unites Taoism, Hermeticism, and modern neuroscience. Activation. If you are ready to remember, write in the comments, "The flow remembers me. I align with the universal mind."
Chapter 1. The Hook. Before you hear the ancient name, before I even reveal the hidden code, let me ask you this. Why does life feel like a fight against an invisible current? Why, no matter how much you plan, push, or force, does reality seem to resist you like a locked door? The sages of the Tao Te Ching and the adepts of Hermeticism whispered the same forbidden truth. Reality was never designed to yield to brute effort. It bends only to vibration, to frequency, to alignment with the universal mind. This is why the swimmer exhausts himself in the waves, while the surfer glides effortlessly on the same ocean. This is why the rigid oak tree snaps in the storm, while the bamboo bends and rises stronger. This is why those who fight against the flow remain tired, and those who attune to it unlock the hidden law of manifestation. That law has many names: Wu Wei, effortless action; mental alchemy, the flow state; the path of least resistance; the alchemy of the soul. It is the forbidden technique feared by systems built on struggle because it breaks their foundation, the belief that you must fight to survive. Tonight, you will not hear a metaphor. you will hear the instruction manual of reality, passed from Lao Tzu to Thoth, from the Taoists to the Hermeticists, and now confirmed by modern neuroscience. And once you see it, you will never be able to unsee it. Activation. If you are ready to step into resonance, write, "I awaken the forbidden flow. I align with the universal mind."
Chapter 2. The Conflict. The real prison is not made of bars. It is made of beliefs. And the greatest lie humanity has ever swallowed is this: that only struggle creates results. This is the voice of the matrix programming, the voice of controller mode. Work harder, force it, control everything. It promises safety, but delivers exhaustion. It pretends to give you power, but steals the only real power you have: the ability to align with the universal current. Look at the swimmer thrashing against the sea. He moves inches, but every stroke burns his strength. Look at the oak tree, proud and immovable. For a moment it seems victorious, until the storm snaps it in half. This is the human condition when we confuse resistance with mastery. The ancients knew better. They saw that life itself is an orchestra of vibration, frequency, rhythm, polarity, correspondence. And they warned, when you fight against the music of the cosmos, all you create is noise. When you attune, you create harmony. This is the essence of Wu Wei, the key to manifestation without struggle, the door to cosmic consciousness. But here lies the conflict. Do you remain enslaved to the ego's command to control, or do you awaken to the higher law of effortless action? Do you continue being the rock, or do you finally remember you are the river? Activation. If you are ready to end the war of resistance, write in the comments, "I release the controller mode. I choose the path of least resistance. I flow with Wu Wei." Chapter 3. The Revelation. There are moments in history when a single gaze toward nature reveals more than libraries of philosophy. In the silence of forgotten mountains, sages saw something we have ignored for centuries: that rivers carve valleys without effort, that bamboo rises stronger not because it resists, but because it bends, and that the wind, invisible yet unstoppable, shapes the destiny of everything it touches. From this observation, the ancients named a secret: Wu Wei. Not doing nothing, but moving with such precision, such resonance, that it appears effortless. It is the wisdom of the Tao, the pulse beneath creation, the rhythm that turns chaos into cosmos. Across the desert sands, another voice echoed the same mystery. In Egypt, Thoth, the great teacher of hidden laws, inscribed in the emerald tablets what mirrors the Tao, the principle that all of existence is mind, vibration, and frequency. The Hermeticists later gave it language in the Kybalion: nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. Two cultures, separated by continents, whispered the same truth: that reality does not yield to muscle, but to frequency. That what you call effort is often noise. That manifestation is not about force, but about tuning in to the universal mind, where intention becomes form and thought crystallizes into matter. And while sages cloaked this in metaphor, today science unmasks it. Neuroscientists speak of the flow state, where the prefrontal cortex, the seat of the ego, falls silent, and the human merges with something larger, a field of intuition and clarity beyond logic. Athletes, artists, mystics, knowingly or not, slip into Wu Wei and touch the same current, the path of least resistance, the alignment with the living fabric of reality. This is the revelation. You were never meant to fight with the universe. You were meant to remember its language, the music beneath appearances. And once you hear it, once you feel the resonance within your own being, you realize the forbidden truth. The universe does not respond to your struggle, it responds to your vibration. Activation. If you are ready to step into resonance, write, I remember Wu Wei. I move with the universal flow. I vibrate with the mind of the all.
Chapter 4. The Proof. For centuries, sages whispered of a hidden law, Wu Wei, effortless action, alignment with the universal flow. The Hermeticists encoded it in the Kabbalion as the principle of vibration. Everything moves, everything resonates. But how do we know it is more than poetry, more than myth? The proof is not only in temples or manuscripts, it is in the bodies of those who touched this current. Think of Bruce Lee, who studied both philosophy and martial arts. He did not preach brute force. He said, empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. He was not speaking of combat alone. He was revealing the essence of Wu Wei. In the ring, he moved not with resistance, but with resonance, responding faster than thought, flowing with his opponent's energy instead of fighting against it. This is mental alchemy in motion. Or look at jazz musicians improvising without a script, entering a trance where the music seems to play through them. They are not calculating notes. They are surrendered to the rhythm, merged with the universal pulse of sound. Or surgeons in long operations whose hands move as if guided by something beyond conscious thought. Hours pass like minutes. Action becomes effortless. This is the modern face of the flow state. Neuroscience now gives language to what the ancients already knew. In flow, the ego's voice quiets, the inner critic fades, the sense of separation dissolves. Cognitive energy once wasted on control is released into creativity, intuition, and precision. Science calls this transient hypofrontality, but the Taoists would simply call it harmony with the Tao, and the Hermeticists would call it alignment with the universal mind. This is the bridge, from Lao Tzu to Bruce Lee, from Thoth to the neuroscientist's lab. All point to the same proof. The greatest power is not in forcing reality, but in becoming fluid enough to flow with it.
Chapter 5. The Transformative Metaphor. The human mind understands best through images. That is why every wisdom tradition has spoken in metaphors, not to decorate the truth, but to reveal it. Most of us have been taught to live like the blacksmith, hammer in hand, striking metal with brute force, believing that repetition and struggle are the only way to shape reality. And yes, the blacksmith shapes matter, but at the cost of fire, sweat, and exhaustion. But there is another image, that of the weaver. She does not strike, she aligns. Each thread, each movement is subtle, precise, in rhythm with the loom. She creates entire worlds of fabric, not through struggle, but through harmony. This is Wu Wei, weaving destiny with the threads of vibration, instead of hammering it with resistance. Or consider the dancer. A dancer does not fight the music. They do not force each step. They allow the rhythm to guide their body, and the result is effortless beauty. This is what the Tao Te Ching means by effortless action, movement born from alignment with the universal flow. Hermeticists, too, spoke of this in the language of alchemy. The untrained mind is like a man shouting into a storm, wasting his voice, unheard. The alchemist is like one who whispers at the exact frequency, and the entire atmosphere responds. It is not intensity that moves reality. It is precision of vibration. This is the metaphor that transforms. You are not here to be the blacksmith, exhausting yourself with fire and force. You are here to be the weaver, the dancer, the alchemist of frequency. Your life was never meant to be a battlefield of resistance, but a choreography with the cosmos. Activation. If you are ready to shift from force to harmony, write in the comments, "I stop forcing. I become the weaver of vibration. I flow with Wu Wei."
Chapter 6. The Triple Method. Every path of true mastery hides a rhythm. Behind the verses of the Tao Te Ching, the mysteries of the Emerald Tablets, and the axioms of the Kybalion lies not just philosophy, but a practical sequence. It is the hidden architecture of Wu Wei and Mental Alchemy, three sacred movements that mirror the breath of the universe itself. The untrained mind tries to manifest by force, but the initiate learns the rhythm of alignment: pause, act, release. Without this trinity, all effort is wasted. Number 1. The sage's pause. The pause is not hesitation, it is sovereignty. It is the space between stimulus and response where you step out of the storm of effects and return to the throne of causes. In this stillness, the noise of the ego fades and the universal mind whispers the precise frequency of your next move. Number 2. The righteous action. From silence, the smallest gesture emerges, and it carries the weight of universes. Not endless arguments, but one phrase that shifts an entire conversation. Not frantic activity, but one step that opens a hidden door. This is the Archimedean lever of consciousness. Minimal effort, maximum impact, because it flows with the cosmic current instead of resisting it. Number 3. The art of letting go. After action, the ego demands control. It wants to check, push, interfere. But the master knows seeds grow in darkness, not under constant scrutiny. Letting go is not indifference, it is faith in the universal laws, mentalism, vibration, correspondence. It is the trust that once the cause is planted in the mind, the effect must unfold in reality. Together, 1, 2, 3 form the living alchemy of alignment. Miss the pause, and your action is noise. Miss the action, and your vision dies unborn. Miss the release, and your seed withers before it blooms. But when the rhythm is whole, reality bends effortlessly to your vibration. Activation. If you are ready to master the triple method, write in the comments 1. I pause. 2. I act. 3. I let go. I flow with Wu Wei. Chapter 7. The Guardians of Illusion. At the threshold of Wu Wei and Mental Alchemy, 3 subtle saboteurs wait. They do not shout, they imitate wisdom. They wear the masks of virtue, rest, urgency, rigor, and bend them into traps. Name them and the spell breaks. Walk past them and the universal flow carries you. 1. The velvet fog of false passivity. This guardian confuses surrender with abdication. It whispers, "Wait a little longer. The universe will do it for you." Symptoms: procrastination dressed as spirituality, endless signs hunting, outsourcing agency to fate. a shrinking of energy disguised as peace. Antidote, presence with pulse. Use the Wu Wei litmus. Is this quiet avoidance or alignment? True Taoist stillness is alert, embodied, and ready. Practice the one clean yes. One small, precise act today that honors the signal you already feel. 3 conscious breaths, then 1 righteous action. 2. The iron tempo of impatience. This guardian tries to force the flow. It harvests fruit before it ripens and calls it productivity. Symptoms: compulsive checking, pushy messages, tightening jaw, multitasking that fractures attention. Antidote: rhythmic trust. Convert urgency into timing intelligence. Extend the sage's pause. 90 seconds of deliberate breathing. Speak once, then let correspondence work. Build lag windows where reality can respond. Images: the archer who releases and does not yank the arrow mid-air. The tide that returns without being summoned. 3. The glass labyrinth of analysis. This guardian mistakes the map for the territory and turns living practice into a checklist. Symptoms: frameworks multiplying, certainty shrinking, decisions deferred until clarity is perfect. Antidote: simplicity in motion. Use the 70% rule. When you have 70% clarity, take 1 step in the world and let feedback complete the rest. Mantra: feel, frame, footstep. Feel the signal in the body. Frame a single hypothesis. Take 1 grounded action. The passage through. These guardians feed on the fear of losing control. Answer them with a triad: courage, rhythm, simplicity. Courage dissolves 1 by giving quiet a pulse. Rhythm dissolves 2 by trading hurry for timing. Simplicity dissolves 3 by turning thought into movement. Walk the numbers and the door opens. 1. Pause awake. 2. Act precisely. 3. Release completely. Do this and resistance becomes resonance. Noise, music. Effort, Wu Wei. Activation. Write in the comments: 1. I unmask false passivity. 2. I release impatience. 3. I step out of analysis. I align with Wu Wei and the universal mind.
Chapter 8: The Inner Battle. Every tradition of wisdom agrees the fiercest enemy is not outside, but inside. Not your boss, not the economy, not your partner, but the restless voice that whispers in the silence of your own mind. This voice is the controller mode. It obsesses over plans, lists, and scenarios. It does not trust the universal flow. It clings to the illusion that safety lies in control. It keeps you awake at night, replaying conversations, rehearsing outcomes, tightening your body as if bracing against a storm that never ends. The irony is devastating. The very attempt to control is what creates chaos. The more you grip water, the faster it escapes between your fingers. The more you force life, the more resistance it generates. This is the hidden slavery of the modern world, the endless loop of resistance disguised as responsibility. The ancients named another path, the sensitive observer. This is not passivity, but radical receptivity. It is a shift from egoic control to cosmic awareness. The sensitive observer listens, not to the panic of the ego, but to the quiet rhythm of the Tao, to the vibrations that precede form, to the subtle frequency that reveals when to move and when to wait. In Hermetic language, this is the step from profane consciousness to initiatic consciousness. In Taoist language, it is the difference between forcing the current and becoming the current. In modern language, it is leaving the noise of fight or flight and entering the flow state, where creativity, intuition, and clarity unfold naturally. The inner battle, therefore, is not between you and the world. It is between the controller mode and the observer mode, between resistance and resonance, between the illusion of separation and the remembrance of unity with the universal mind. Only when this battle is recognized and won within can you walk the path of Wu Wei, the way of effortless alignment, the art of mental alchemy. Activation. If you are ready to silence the controller mode and awaken the sensitive observer, write in the comments, "I silence the controller, I awaken the observer, I flow with the universal mind." Chapter 9. The Great Shift. Every initiate must one day face the crossing, the moment when the old self, built on fear and control, dissolves, and a new perception awakens. This crossing is not marked by fire or thunder. It happens in silence. It happens inside. The controller mode clings to life with closed fists. It believes the world is hostile, that survival demands vigilance and resistance. But the sensitive observer stands open-handed, perceiving what the controller never sees: the subtle rhythm beneath events, the invisible currents that whisper when to act and when to wait. This is the great shift, the turning of consciousness from resistance to resonance, from separation to union. It is not the abandonment of responsibility, but the remembrance of a deeper responsibility, to align with the universal mind, to vibrate with the rhythm of the cosmos, to embody the law of Wu Wei, effortless action. In Taoism, this moment is called returning to the Tao. In Hermeticism, it is the first step into initiatic consciousness, the mind no longer enslaved by appearances, but aware of the principle of correspondence, as within, so without. In modern language, it is the flow state, the alignment where intuition replaces anxiety, clarity replaces noise, and life begins to move with you instead of against you. This shift is not philosophy. It is a death and a rebirth. The death of the ego's obsession with control. The rebirth of the higher self, the part of you that always knew how to listen, how to align, how to become one with the river instead of the rock. The great shift is the threshold of initiation. Once crossed, you no longer see reality as chaos to be fought, but as music to be played, as current to be ridden, as light to be embodied. This is not escape. It is alchemy of the soul. It is the remembrance of what you always were, vibration, resonance, consciousness flowing with the all. Activation. If you are ready for the great shift, write in the comments, "I release resistance. I awaken resonance. I cross into initiatic consciousness." Chapter 10. The Signs of Life. Life does not speak in words or theories. It speaks in signals, in subtle movements, in rhythms that repeat like the tides. The sage does not force the path. He learns to listen to these invisible signs. There are moments when everything opens. Doors unlock on their own. Encounters happen effortlessly. Energy runs like wind filling the sails of a boat.
This is the sign of expansion. It is life saying, advance, the current is in your favor. But there are moments when everything closes. The river meets larger stones. The roads seem walled. Energy contracts. This is the sign of dissonance. It is not punishment, but instruction. Do not fight. Do not waste strength. The sage withdraws, dissolves, and waits until the current flows again. And there are moments of transition when nothing is entirely clear. There is no forward motion, but no complete blockage either, only a suspended breath. This is the sign of observation. Here, rushing destroys, and giving up is loss. The sage simply perceives, attentive, until the natural rhythm reveals the direction. These signs are not external, they are internal reflections. Reality merely responds to the vibrational state you carry. When there is alignment, life flows. When there is resistance, the world closes. When there is uncertainty, the invitation is to feel more deeply. To recognize these signals is to live in harmony with Wu Wei, the way of effortless action, the art of moving when life moves and becoming silent when the Tao falls silent. It is to live not as a blind wanderer stumbling at every obstacle, but as a traveler who feels the road beneath his feet, guided by the eternal rhythm of the living universe. Activation. If you choose to hear the signs of life, write in the comments, I feel the flow, I recognize the signs, I walk with Wu Wei.
Chapter 11. The Sage's Pause. Between every stimulus and response, there is a hidden kingdom. Most people rush through it blindly, enslaved by impulse, chained to automatic reactions. But the sage discovers that this silent interval is the very throne of power. The sage's pause is not hesitation, it is sovereignty. It is the sacred breath that lifts you from the battlefield of effects back to the realm of causes. In that pause, the noise of the ego dissolves. Fear softens, anger loses its grip, and the whisper of the universal mind can finally be heard. In Hermetic tradition, this is the retreat to the inner sanctuary, stepping out of the storm of appearances into the causal plane where reality is born. In Taoism, it is the stillness before action, the moment where water gathers before it flows, where the bamboo bends before it rises again. In modern language, it is the mastery of response, the power to choose instead of being dragged by impulse. From this silence, true Wu Wei arises, not inaction, but aligned action, not noise, but resonance. The sage's pause creates the gap where intuition can bloom, where clarity can enter, where the smallest gesture becomes the seed of the greatest transformation. Without the pause, we live like prisoners of reaction, repeating the same patterns, mistaking compulsion for will. With the pause, we return to our true center, remembering that we are not the storm, we are the sky that contains it. To master the sage's pause is to reclaim your throne. It is to step back from chaos and stand again in alignment with the universal flow, wielding the power of choice that the world tried to make you forget. Activation. If you are ready to claim the sage's pause, write in the comments,
I pause, I return to my center. I act from Wu Wei, not from impulse.
Final chapter. The river remembers. All journeys of wisdom arrive here, at the edge of the great remembrance. For lifetimes you have believed yourself to be the rock, solid, separate, resisting the current of life. You have prided yourself on endurance, on struggle, on effort. But the truth is more ancient than the illusion. You are not the rock. You never were. You are the river. This is not metaphor, it is revelation. Every teaching of Taoism, every axiom of Hermeticism, every discovery of modern science converges on this. The flow is not outside you. You are the flow itself. The ego, with its controller mode, was only a mist covering the truth. Once the mist dissolves, only the river remains, effortless, inevitable, eternal. The river does not resist the mountain. It embraces, it carves, it transforms. The river does not chase the ocean. It is always already on the way. So too with your soul. You do not need to force destiny. Your very essence is the current that carries you there. When you remember this, resistance becomes impossible. How can water fight its own flow? How can a wave declare war against the ocean? The fight ends in the moment of remembrance. What remains is alignment, resonance, harmony with the universal mind. This is the final act of mental alchemy, the transmutation of identity. Not changing lead into gold, but illusion into truth. Not forcing the world outside, but remembering the reality within. You are the river. You are the Tao moving through itself. You are the vibration of the all expressed in form. And once this is known in every cell of your being, effort, struggle, and resistance dissolve like mist in sunlight. Now the journey of the mind ends. The journey of the soul begins. Do not just read this. Live it, flow it, become it.